What's up everyone, Speedy here. In this 1v1 video, we're going to be doing 2 live games as well as 1 replay review. So let's get right into it. Just remember, as we load into this game here, if you'd like to have some of your replays being reviewed, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. I can show you how. Here we go, and here we are in game number 1. Try to make it awkward. Grab pads here. See by being patient, I get possession. Press that contact, didn't do anything. I'll get though. Got all these pads here. Fortunate bump. I'll get though, that boost should spawn. Grab this pad lane here. Thank you. So what you want to do is, if your opponent is trying to like push the ball a certain way, it's a technique in some sports. It's called zoning, and essentially you're trying to force the opponent into a play that's going to be more favorable for you. Oh, I don't know why I didn't see him going there. Yeah, I should have gone square on there. That's pretty bad. I don't know why I didn't have like correct vision of that for some reason. Like, just didn't think he was as close as he was to it. Oh, good. That's funny. But it's just hyper aggressive on every challenge, so it's funny that the reverse bump play. Yeah. So there it's just going for the delay. If the opponent is trying to, see how they're like skipping across, they're trying to skim it. So in this case, it doesn't work. We're okay. Just shot that. I'll get that. I don't really mind if they're going for bumps. And then you just fake them out. It's all about the threat. So what you want to do there is put a play out that's going to look threatening, and then go for the fake. Here, grab this pad. Thing ball forward. Hey, that's pretty clean. Opponent should not have really challenged that. That was a really bad challenge. Goes for the delay. Nice. That was perfect defense. Perfect defense with the pretty slow play from my opponent. Just wasn't really high percentage, especially coming off the corner here. Surprised they didn't go for my corner, but all good. Got both these boosts. Just stay in control of the position. Look at though. It's a solid game. GG. Here we are in game number 2. Gonna go for sidewall, because of course. There's always people like this. And yes, I'm all the way down in Plat 3 because I've lost a lot of games. That's life. Oh look, the Grand Champ in Plat 3. If I can't get a good shot, might as well just play it safe. Bring it back to my corner. Okay. Incredible recovery. Overcommitted. Well done. Take the goals I can get against somebody who's, for all intents and purposes, might as well be smurfing. Then, yeah, I'll take the goals I can get. Okay. Okay, Rocket League. No problem. No problem. Let's build that gap. I mean, that's just fucking textbook. It's just clinical. Just clinical. Of course, he gets a fucking god tier 50. Such a boring ass fucking opponent, dude. I'm just basically having to like play riskier to try to force certain plays because like obviously once he has space he can do whatever he wants. Textbook. He's going to play good in the air, or play well in the air. I am going to play better on the ground. Fucking terrible air through lump attempt. Come on, bro. You're a fucking grand champ. You should save that. You should save that, bro. Fuck out of this rank. Fortunately, backflip flick somehow actually gives him the perfect play. No surprise. Just forces the 50. GG. Here we are in the replay portion of the video. Starting things off with a bad kickoff. Always the best feeling in the world is when you start a game off with a side flip instead of a speed flip and miss the pads. So of course you end up coming to it slowly. Always a great feeling. We both missed the boost. somehow. We're both bad at the game. There, it's really it has to do with the spacing. So when you're making the approach for this play, and the things you want to recognize, there are two options here. You could either go for that type of double, like that type of double flip, or sorry. When you're making this type of play, though, you have a couple options. One is get a little bit better control and go for a double jump touch, or like a double jump pop. This one is suitable for the play. It works because I get the beat, but if the opponent was any earlier, it would have forced a better 50 for them, and it would have been more neutral for me. Here, just not really like recognizing where the opponent's spacing is, like because they're going to be putting themselves a certain way. You see they're kind of to the left here, and I'm to the left. That's going to push the ball to the right here. As you can see, it pinches it to the right. So you want to be careful about how this kind of pitches across. The way you do this differently is once you recognize here, try to be a little bit earlier to the jump. So like you can see here, there's that moment of like boosting then going. If you can just be a little bit earlier, just a tiny increment earlier to start your flip process, instead of landing here, you'll land maybe like there. And at that point, you want to be a tiny bit more to the right. Because if you could be more center right here, and then do a right side flip, do like a right side, essentially a right side flip, what that's going to do is it's going to push the ball more this way, but in a way that's more favorable for you. The opponent's going to be a little bit awkward here, and you'll likely have a better outcome with this. If the opponent was positioned a little bit differently at this point here, that was just a straight up open net. That's good control. Yeah, unfortunately that didn't trip him at all. And that didn't bump him either. And then I got myself awkward, unfortunately. Just whole series of things that did not work in that play as they should have, and then obviously led to the blunder at the end. So the way you kind of go about this a bit differently is here. So grab this boost. This is fine. And so from this position, what you could do is not come up the wall so high. You want to come up like a little bit and then fake down, but you want to be kind of moving in a position that's not like this. You want to be a little bit more like that, and then try not to move too fast. Because this makes the spacing awkward, and it's hard for me to kind of get a good distance of whether or not I can shadow. Because I'm shadowing too close, the opponent is able to flip through the ball onto the left, and that's what creates that possession play, and then he's able to maintain momentum. Yeah, I get contact here and it just does nothing to his car. It's really unfortunate because like if that actually like if that bump did something like it was supposed to, that whole play of his at the end wouldn't have happened that way because he would have been bumped. It's all good. It's just unfortunate. Opponent gets the beat there. I would say a way around that is like here, recognizing I'm beat earlier, and instead there's a very open option right here, is to flip towards this way, get this boost, get this pad here, this large boost, and while the opponent comes up the wall here, now I have a position that I can cover. I'm able to get this boost here, so it does work, but it's awkward. I do a good job of defending, so this is okay. It's good patience here, just recognizing it's a bit awkward, so it's just good to take time. I mean, that's an alright air dribble, honestly. It's not great, but it's alright. The way you improve this, though, is like as you're coming off for the takeoff here, is you want to do your second jump a little bit later. So instead of going pop, pop like that, go pop, pop, and then as you're getting your second one, you'd be pointing back. So it's essentially the same technique as like a fast aerial. You want to be applying that as you're coming off the ground here, because what that's going to do is, say the ball's here, if you go pop, pop like this, you're going to be flat for a moment, and then you have to come up. Whereas here, if you go pop, pop like that, it's more gradual, and then it already gives you the perfect range of like positional range here for you to start getting your trajectory for the ball to actually start carrying an air dribble. I do a good job of like being able to make the play work. I think it's not bad, but it could be better. It could definitely be much better for sure. This whole play sequence I fucked up. I just hesied. I kind of got myself mentally caught between two worlds. I could like, I was like, shit. I didn't think enough early enough to recognize if a fake would have been a good idea, and then I just kind of like pressed the reverse button and kind of like jittered my car, and at that point I just kind of like fucked the whole play. I was like, that's really annoying. So at that point I was like, okay, well, kind of demoed here. There's nothing I could do. And then just a wide open net because I gave him all the space. The way it all starts is really just because of a poor kickoff decision. What you want to do is, as you're coming into the kickoff and recognize what kind of kickoff it is, you want to give yourself a moment to actually like decide what type of kickoff you want to do. If you want to do a corner fake, if you want to do like a different type of corner fake, if you want to do delay, if you want to do a push or a pull, speed flip, you know, you want to try to think a little bit ahead on the kickoff. So you don't have to think about like 6 kickoffs from now, I'm going to do 4 different types of mechanics. No, just like think as you're coming into the kickoff and you see what kind of kickoff you have, recognize that it's an option. So like here, recognize this is a good option for a delay kickoff, and the delay works. Opponent gets an awkward touch. I missed that pad, unfortunately, that big boost there. I'm really kind of annoyed that I missed that. How far was I from it? I was pretty far. Good use of the wall dash there just to kind of stay close enough to force the 50-50. It's a good boost grabs here. Good job controlling this pad. This is well done. Yeah, it's not a very scoreable angle. If the opponent got a better touch here, it would have been scoreable. What you want to do is if you find yourself in a position like this, try not to get yourself crossed up here. So like here, make that play. And if you can't get a like shot directly on, just simply cut back, watch for the bump, and then just try to jump over the opponent while the ball's bouncing, and put yourself in a position where you can shadow. You can cut for this boost. You could also cut and bring it back. You could very much the safe play would be to bring it back, potentially get the mid boost as well if you have the space for it. But this play is just what it is it's too positionally committed, because at this point you can see like how much space it allows the opponent to be able to shoot. They get a really shitty shot that's poor and it doesn't do anything, but this is something that if they did better, it would have resulted in the goal. As you can see here, it almost did. I like this play here. Something I talked about in a recent replay review for one of my subscribers here is I talked about the idea of being able to use a jump as a way to essentially create like a spacing advantage. So by jumping here, staying close, the opponent has to respect that I'm jumping here because they don't know if I'm going to try to like fake or flick. They don't have enough time to recognize that, and because of that, it's essentially you're just mentally blocking the opponent from being able to do anything for just a brief moment. And by doing that, you're dominating that physical space for just a split second. And by this, boom, now I have an option. So here, unfortunately, this goes a little wide here. If this was a little higher, opponent wouldn't be able to save it. He gets a really good save, in fairness. This is good boost grabs all around, so that's okay. Here, good single jump here. This all happened. Unfortunately, this was a perfect play until that wave dash. Because once I got that wave dash and I fucked it up, that just created the open net scenario. What I could say is, like, honestly, in this situation, just stay grounded. Just, like, let the landing happen naturally. Hold power side for a moment so you're kind of set up neutral. And then you could also, like, at this point, bring the ball back, speed flip through it, and then grab that boost right there, and you'll have an opportunity. The opponent, you have a very small window because the opponent is going for that bump play immediately afterwards. But that kind of mistake is really one you want to avoid making if you can. Decent kickoff, win it on the right side here. The reason I kind of like made that micro movement there is I was trying to like mentally think about like whether or not the opponent was going to challenge. So I was trying to like start setting myself up for some level of positioning if the opponent was going to move a certain way. This is good movement here, just patience here. Opponent, honestly, like, their mistake right here was this touch here. Once they touch and then they flip through it, get a very, very weak touch. And at this point, like, now I have control. I can flick it. And they also rotated the wrong direction. They rotated outward like this, around where the ball's trajectory would have been. If they came up like this, so if you pay attention to where the opponent was, so they make the cut here and flip, right? But watch how they cut left. If they stayed a little more to the right and then watched here, pick the side, and then forced me one way or another, I would have had a bit of a harder time to be able to shoot because I wouldn't have had like an open angle for me to work with. But by cutting across this long way, what it does is it relegates the space here, and it allows me to come up from this way. Since now this is open, I can come up this way and then flick it back behind him. So that's the reason why that play happened the way it did. It's because the opponent essentially put themselves in an awkward spacing and rotated the wrong direction. These are very common mistakes. These are normal things to do, but these are things you want to be aware of because what can happen is exactly that. Worst case scenario, you get scored on. Most likely, you just put yourself in an awkward interaction. Here, it's just trying to stay close to the ball, just so that way I can maintain a possession, potentially. I didn't have to come up the ceiling there. It made this more awkward. Opponent was really late to that challenge. And realistically, they should not have gone there. This is a good bump play. Yeah, for some reason, I kind of mentally slowed it down because I wasn't sure if the opponent was going to be back in time, and I thought once they were, I needed to place for a 50. So my priority at that point was more for a 50-50 play to kind of just be really careful here. This is a really good way. So when you lose the kickoff like this, immediately put it into a place that's safe. Opponent decides to be super aggro in like a very bad spot. This final touch is kind of poor though. You want to avoid. So like here, once you get this touch, you can just take a tiny bit more time. It'd be a little more to the left of it. It'll shoot it actually more centered. Yes, it went in, but it absolutely was in a position where it could have gone the wrong way. And at that point, it goes the wrong way and you miss an open net, complexion of the game completely changes. So just be careful of those things. Opponent unfortunately kind of trolls the kickoff here, like they ended up, obviously, as you can see, own goaling. What they could have done differently is from this position, so from the kickoff, here they lose the kickoff, and watch where they move. They don't get any pads, they get 0 pads. What they should have done is pad, and turn up, and recognize that, oh, this is coming up and out like this. I have 24 boosts. If I went pad, that's 24 boosts right there. That's more than enough to be able to place for a 50 and then potentially bang it to the corner. Even if I take the corner boost from them, it is safer than obviously putting themselves awkward, having 0 boosts, and then not having a safe touch to work with, which obviously leads to the own goal. So again, those are small adjustments defensively the opponent can make that would have actually put them in a better spot. Here, just watching for where the opponent is. Also being patient. Opponent's like doing the right things with the bumps. This is smart. Yeah, this was really annoying because like these types of like reverse bump plays are the worst. Because he just slows down and it just like stops my car even though I should be spinning him out. And it's frustrating because he creates an open angle here that honestly should have gone in. This was really like in that moment for me, I remember being really tilted at that. I was just like, are you serious, dude? It's a good ground air dribble, or wall to air dribble. What I could do here is honestly try to go for an air dribble bump. It's still a committal play. But here, opponent starts challenging from here. And he's doing a really good job of reading the trajectory of the ball. This is a really good defense from the opponent. What I could have done is then recognize they're going to go for that and then just go for the air dribble bump. Because at that point, the ball, like from this angle, you can see here, this trajectory, like it was absolutely going to go to the net. Like it was 100%. Like that trajectory right there, that's going straight in. So if I get the bump there earlier and force the bump, boom, he's out of the way, ball goes straight in. Would have been 7-3. In fairness, again, good save by the opponent. Opponent just being aggro. Here, I make a really big mistake here. I insta-flick, or at least try to flick here. The opponent early challenges and plays it high, and he just gets a fortunate bounce that goes pretty much directly in. The adjustment here is, like, once I see the opponent is early challenge, look to the left, and pay attention to how much boost they're using. They're full boosting. They're just, like, W King straight into the play. Instant, like, instant flick. Backflip flick. Flick it right. Don't flick it left. Flick it right, because if you flick it right into the open side of the like the space side of the play, what happens is you get a lot more space to work with, and the opponent won't be able to follow up on the play. So watch. Here, opponent's getting ready to challenge. I want to be next time be a little bit, tiny bit more to the left of the ball, and then flick it right. Opponent's going to early challenge anyways. Flick it right before they can get to it, and what'll happen is ball will go here. Opponent is just going to go flying here, and now I have an open space to work with. I can grab that boost. I can have plenty of space to work with. I can go for shot if I have like a fortunate enough position. But because of this, it just leads to a really poor angle for me and ends up getting me scored on. So I don't mind the flick play. The flick play is not a bad play, but it's the incorrect direction for the flick play, and it's also the timing and awareness to recognize that the opponent was going to be going for an early child there. Here, it's okay. It's a decent challenge. Too much power. Like, I don't mind the idea of trying to go for like a wall to a ceiling touch, but this is hit too hard, so it bounces directly off, and at that point my momentum forces me into an awkward space. At this point here, like, I'm lucky to not get scored on immediately after this. And once again, I should have gotten scored on here. Poor play here. What we could do is not go up this high. I don't have to go up this high. I understand the panic because he was trying to bump, but if I stay like here, recognize this, immediately I can go like off the wall and then bang this across to the safe side of the play. The opponent is behind me at this stage, so I know this is going to be a safe play to bring it across because the opponent won't be able to reach this play in time. They have to get 2 goals and they won't have a lot of time to be able to actually do anything. That should have gone in. Fortunately, bump does nothing because Rocket League, he gets a really fortunate 50 and it just works out for him. That's life. Sometimes you just get a good play that works out. Not ideal. Here, just try to bring it into a kind of space that I could work with. He messes up the save there, and then of course win the game. So there's a lot to learn from this game. Really, primarily, it's just awareness. Yeah, I would say the big takeaway from this replay would be awareness in this case. It's just being aware of like certain adjustments and also being aware of like where the opponent is trying to challenge. Late game awareness is a really, really core part of 1v1s because that is where many, many games are won or lost, especially in the late stages of the game, last minute or two, because the opponent or you could make adjustments or make changes to the way they're playing. You could be more aggressive because you're running out of time, so you have to go, or you could be more passive because you know in your really good spot and you don't need to be over aggressive. Or you could do, in many cases, the correct thing and be maintaining the level of aggression that you have, not being over aggressive, but not being under aggressive either. There is a such thing as being under and over aggressive. There is a way to find that balance, and that is usually done through experience. So if you enjoyed watching this video, I'd like to ask you to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Speedy Man out.